This time on Future Weapons. When you need firepower on the move, catch a wave.
They're no longer a threat.
It might look like a standard assault rifle, but this PSD packs twice the punch.
It's gonna do its job.
And want to stop terrorists from hijacking or blowing up your plane? There's a new scanner that sees the solution.
What we bring to those machines is a brain.
I'm Richard Makowitz. A decade as a U.S. Navy SEAL primed me for the world of future weapons. For the personal protection specialist, safeguarding the life of your client is everything. And every member of your detail must be constantly vigilant. Moving through a public place with a high-risk protectee, an attack can come from anywhere. You want to know that the weapon you're carrying can deliver the knockout punch. The M4 or the MP5 is often the weapon of choice. But it's far from ideal when you're coming up against bigger rounds with more punching power. We're facing attackers wearing body armor. And our standard issue weapons are struggling to knock them down.
No doubt about it, this situation sucks. They have AK-47s firing the 7.62 round. We have M4s firing 5.56. We may be more accurate, but they got more than double the kinetic energy on their round. What if I could even out the odds?
On a quest to find something with more kinetic energy than the 5.56 millimeter round, I've come to an exclusive training center in New Mexico. With over 40 years of command experience in special operations, retired Colonel Daryl Elmore realized the limitations of the 5.56 millimeter round back in the Vietnam conflict.
Like all good weapons, man, we read all the magazines and we knew all about what it was supposed to do. And then when it got over there in Vietnam, it didn't do it. The 5.56, even the ones today, anecdotal, they don't do too well. And my own personal experience, they don't do too well.
And you got a lot of experience.
I literally saw it happen, and I saw the guy turn around and look at the man who shot him and didn't even act like he was hurt.
And you want to drop that guy. You want to know that he is not going to continue fighting after being shot.
You want to neutralize the threat with a minimum amount of shots.
So what if you could build a more compact, less conspicuous weapon that hits a whole lot harder than the M4? That could prove pretty useful, right?
It's a beautiful day. Yeah, it may be gray outside, and no, these aren't rose-colored glasses, but I'm sitting at a range and I'm firing an amazing weapon. It is a 6.8 millimeter round-firing machine, and it is unbelievable.
Meet the all-new PSD, or Personal Security Detail Weapon from LWRC. It has a compact 8-inch barrel firing the more powerful 6.8 millimeter round. It uses a short-stroke gas piston system. It's accurate and incredibly robust in just about any environment. And we have secured exclusive first-time access to this weapon. One of the beautiful things about this weapon is everything feels familiar, just like an M4. So if you've ever fired that weapon system, no problem. Safety, everything's exactly the same. The grip, same. Even the magazine release, everything is the exact same. Even the amount of recoil you're getting back feels exactly the same as the M4. But what it really comes down to is it fires the 6.8 millimeter round. It gives you more than double the kinetic energy, traveling downrange and into the target you had to take out. If you're out there in a bad situation, you want to know that round is going to have an effect. When U.S. troops went into Somalia in the early 1990s, they were using the standard 5.56 round.
little over 10 years ago, I was involved in the Black Hawk Down that Mark Bowden wrote about it in his book, Special Operations over in Somalia.
One man who was right there in the heart of the action was Paul Howe.
Right now, we've had problems going back to Somalia with the current 5.56. People did not react like they do in the movies. They were hit multiple times, still continue to fight or do other battlefield activities. The mechanics of weapon systems, they haven't changed that greatly since then. We're still running the same problems with the bullets and the bullet weight and the energy transfer with those bullets.
Future Weapons gave Paul the chance to try out the new PSD for the very first time.
This is the first time I fired a PSD. Very easy weapon. It's the same basic weapon system as the M4 platform. A little bit more recoil, a little sharper, nothing you can't handle. This weapon will make a great difference at the threat targets that are up close and personal. Those are the ones that are the most dangerous. And the heavier bullet will do that.
Next, we road test the PSD and its heavier bullet to show you its stopping power. The new PSD, or Personal Security Detail Weapon from LWRC, fires the bigger 6.8mm round, giving it a lot more punch than the standard 5.56mm round. It has a compact 8-inch barrel, so it's shorter than the M4, making it ideal for high-risk, close-in protection. But how about its range and accuracy? With the 6.8 round, it can reach out beyond 200 meters incredibly accurately. And to have a little fun, I've added dynamite to the targets. Everybody loves a good blast. And its new design goes much further to produce a weapon that's also rugged and reliable. It uses a short-stroke gas piston system. This carries the dirty propellant gases away from the chamber. So, even in full auto mode, it's cleaner than most conventional firing mechanisms, and more importantly, it's more reliable.
The one thing you want to know, well, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that when you need your weapon to perform, no matter what environment you're in, it's going to do its job.
Submerge a gun in water, and the liquid quickly fills every little gap, blocking the escape route for all of the combustion gases. Try to fire a waterlogged weapon, and it could result in a jam, or worse, the gun could literally blow up in your face. The PSD's strategically placed drain holes means as soon as you come up for air, you can start shooting. So, with all of these advantages stacking up, I want to see how the PSD stands up against a coordinated attack on a personal security detail. This time, everybody in the convoy is carrying the PSD.
Protective details are probably one of the most challenging jobs in the world because you have to be vigilant all the time. And rarely do you actually see a threat until the 1 second you decide to relax, then all hell breaks loose.
In this kind of convoy formation, the front and rear vehicles are providing cover for the middle. I'm in the middle Suburban with VIP Judy and a detail of 2 more agents. The front vehicle is attacked. When you're under attack, the first rule is to get out of the kill zone fast. The vehicle in front is out of action and blocking us in. We return fire. With the PSD, shooting through our vehicle's tempered windshield is no problem.
As you can see after our little demonstration, Judy, our protectee, is still alive. Thank you for being here. What you really want to understand here is that the M4 shoots the 5.56. Now the 5.56, well, it has a very small bullet right there. That's the tip of it. And when this is trying to come through tempered glass or armored glass, what's going to happen is because it's very fast and it's very small, its tendency will be to fragment, to fall apart as it's coming through that glass, which means not a whole lot is going downrange, and whatever is going downrange doesn't have a lot of kinetic energy on it. Well, if you can see the bullet head here on the 6.8, well, this actually stays in one piece, comes through that glass, maintains its kinetic energy, lands on the target, and drops that guy. And the beautiful thing about that is the person you're protecting, well, their life is safe.
Coming up, a new wave makes a splash in Israel. On Israel's Mediterranean coastline, not far from Tel Aviv, lies a secret Israeli Defense Force test site, surrounded by sand dunes. I've come here to experience the power and precision of a state-of-the-art weapon system simply known as the Wave. The Wave turns the tide for old weapons and transforms them into future weapons. Tanks and armored vehicles play a vital role in the defense strategy for the State of Israel. To serve those land forces effectively, Israeli military industries built the Wave to be a 21st century solution to a 20th century problem. The problem: in armored vehicles, the gunner needs to be up on top to see the target and aim the weapon. But this leaves him open and exposed to attack, not ideal for him or the rest of the unit. The solution? The Wave. The weapon is still mounted outside the vehicle, but the gunner stays protected on the inside, remotely operating anything from a 7.62 millimeter machine gun to a 40 millimeter grenade launcher.
The Wave is an incredible synthesis of old, reliable, powerful technology with new gyro stabilization and electrical optical sensors that allow your guy to stay safely inside the armored vehicle and away from outside threats.
Wave pushes any performance of any weapon to its utmost.
Rami Sokolar is Director of Marketing at IMI's Land Systems Division.
Whether urban warfare or conventional warfare, the Wave can enable the crew to perform their task to their utmost.
To show just how effective this combination of old and new technology really is, here they've married the incredibly advanced Wave platform to the great, reliable Browning M250 caliber machine gun, transforming it into a powerful weapon system for tomorrow's battlefield. All right, Monty, you're gonna teach me how to use this?
Yes.
All right.
Start with the joystick.
Monty Mamalia is IMI's chief instructor on the Wave.
This is a weapon joystick. You have here elevation up and down.
So it's kind of like an aircraft. If I actually want to go up, I got to go down.
Yes.
Got it. Normally, with any optical sight placed on a gun, there's an offset between the line of sight and the path of the bullet. When the Wave platform has been calibrated to the weapon, a combination of optical sensors and a laser rangefinder locks onto the target. Once the gunner has aimed the weapon, the system will stay locked onto the target. Here we go. Two shots, center mass. Two shots to the head. I'll tell you what, having a 50 caliber machine gun throwing those gigantic rounds at you is a nightmare. With this kind of accuracy and the fact that I can do it from complete safety from within the cap, I'll tell you, it's going to definitely make a warfighter feel a lot safer. But the really clever part, and by far the most difficult, is getting the system to work on the move. This is where the Wave's advanced technology really comes into its own.
There is a software that analyzes the pixels, and from this we can enable the system, first of all, to stabilize the system.
3 separate stabilizers use fiber optic gyroscopes to relay their data back to the system, all at the speed of light. This instantaneous feedback means the platform stays locked solidly onto the target, no matter what the vehicle does or how much recoil there is from the weapon. Highly sophisticated digital software even analyzes the image to give the operator an early warning of danger.
The video motion detection, for example, for an ambush scenario, will enable you to detect and to alert you that there is something new in the vicinity of your vehicle.
It all sounds great in theory, but can the Wave really deliver what it promises? Now we're driving up on a group attempting to rig a car with explosives. They line up to fire at us. We have to react now. First, take out the vehicle, then take out the other threats. What we got is a car loaded with IEDs. We want to take those guys out, stop. All right, here we go. I'm gonna cock it again. Okay, ready? Guys with IEDs trying to do bad things. Just like that, they're no longer a threat. All handled while on the move. Be careful. If you're coming against the Israeli Defense Force and they have a Wave mounted on their vehicle, it may come crashing down on you. Next, keeping terrorist attacks out of the sky. Believe it or not, airport security is on the front line.
We take 10 trillion calculations to figure out what's inside this.
Terrorists have been targeting commercial aircraft for over 40 years, with deadly effect. These attacks on the ground, and especially in the air, are designed to grab headlines around the world and strike terror into the hearts of civilians. In our effort to make air travel safer, we've gathered better intelligence. There are longer security lines with more thorough searches. We've even strengthened cockpit doors and put sky marshals on planes. But those measures mean the threat is already on board the plane with you at 35,000 feet. With explosives, by that time, it's too late. To truly be effective, you need to stop the threat on the ground, at the checkpoints, before the terrorists get anywhere near an aircraft, which makes airport security screening a mission-critical part of every passenger flight. This X-ray machine right here is on the front line in the war on terrorism. And at stake are millions of lives and billions of dollars every single day.
It is a mission-critical function that we're talking about at the checkpoints at any airport.
Aviation security expert Chris Yates is well aware of the limitations of existing airport screening systems.
We have a set of technology at the checkpoints which is outdated. It's as simple as that. We're talking metal detection, we're talking X-ray. Both of those were put in place in the airport at a time when we were looking for hijackers. The guy with the 3 sticks of dynamite and the alarm clock.
Really obvious kind of threats.
That's right. But the systems we have now aren't capable of meeting modern threats. For example, plastic explosive, liquid explosive, the gels, the pastes, and so on. So we need to get smarter.
The question is, how do you take a machine like that and make it brilliant enough to dominate the deadly game of hide and seek that it has to win every single day? And in Quebec, Canada, a company called Opto Security has done just that. They've granted me exclusive access to their groundbreaking system, which automatically detects 2 of the biggest threats air travelers face from terrorists: guns and liquid explosives. Conventional equipment simply shows an image of everything in the bag, which can be confusing. With the pressure of screening so many travelers, there's a chance that something lethal could slip through.
So you have electronics, you have a hairdryer, you have coins, a watch, an umbrella, you have a chain. What we bring to those machines is a brain.
Eric Bergeron leads the team that built Opto Screener.
We're the first one to develop a product that will finally help the screener to find the threat inside the bag.
The new system has been pre-programmed with anything that a terrorist might try to smuggle on board.
We have the world's largest database of threats in X-ray image. So guns, weapon parts, dangerous liquids, detonators, name it. So we work very closely with our federal police here, and they helped us to build up that huge database of bad things.
To see this system in action, we've decided to challenge it. We're planting guns in carry-on baggage, but we're not making it easy. Some of the guns are disassembled. The first challenge is easy, the sort of thing a human screener would have no problem seeing.
What I love so much about this is when you look at this, here you can see everything, right? But if you have a bunch of other metal next to it, it might be something else. But here, when you get to your screen, it fades everything else into the background.
It dims the safe stuff and highlights the nasty stuff.
All right, piece of cake. Now?
Current equipment shows everything in the bag. But OptoScreener's ability to isolate just the threat makes the screener's job a whole lot easier.
That's a slide right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, see, it pops right up. There's a slide, and there's the little receiver of a pistol.
You can zoom in as well.
Oh, look at that. That's incredible. That's fantastic.
See some fine details inside the gun.
That's perfect. And as you can see,
This system can detect any weapon, even its individual parts, no matter what their orientation or what else is in the bag. As potential threats change, OptoScreener adapts.
It's upgradable too, so every year bad guys will come up with new threats. Every year we'll be able to update the database every quarter.
OptoScreener recognizes more than just firearms. August 2006. London Heathrow, one of the busiest airports in the world, is brought to a standstill. Intelligence agencies had discovered a whole new kind of threat. Terrorists planned to wipe out 10 passenger planes using a deadly mixture of liquid explosives. Before this, everyday household liquids were never considered a real threat to air travel. But when scientists from the US government copied their recipe, the results were terrifying. The frightening thing is, those ingredients can be bought at any drugstore. But building a machine that can tell the difference between harmless and dangerous liquids was an enormous technical challenge. Dan Goodmanson was the man who developed that capability.
This is the XMS, which we call the X-ray molecular spectrometer. Right, we had to have a cool name.
yeah, of course.
Right?
Reading the XMS display couldn't be simpler. Any liquid, gel, or paste that's non-threatening is outlined in green, and anything dangerous shows up in red. Green for go, red for stop. It couldn't get any simpler than that.
This is like what I would normally just take through the screening zone, right?
Exactly.
To test the system, I put some personal items in the tray, including a nasty surprise.
Mouthwash. Now I put this in here.
Yep.
In a traditional screening process, would anybody think twice of that? What's wrong with that bag?
Well, let's give it a scan and see if there is.
Okay, all right.
What Dan doesn't know is that I filled a tiny bottle of hand sanitizer with a liquid for a chemical bomb.
Okay, so let's do the scan. So let's see, what is the mouthwash? Is it in fact mouthwash? So all I did was select the bottle. Okay, it says it's a safe material. Puts a nice little green box around it. So we're good. Good, next one.
Green outline. And this is the hand sanitizer.
Whoa.
Hazardous material, flammable. So right off the bat, you know there's something up. Because
Absolutely.
hand sanitizer is not normally hazardous material and flammable.
Correct. So I think you tricked me and you went and put alcohol or
I'm a clever
acetone.
guy about that, you know?
But not clever enough to fool this machine. It works by exploiting the fact that X-rays contain two discrete energy levels. By analyzing and comparing the way these energies interact with the molecular structure of the liquid being tested, the system is able to distinguish between liquids that are chemically very similar. In fact, it's so sensitive, it even knows the difference between regular and Diet Coke. To do this, OptoScreener also has to filter out and ignore any other materials, like the bag, the tray, the can, or the bottle containing the liquid. It sounds easy, but it takes an incredible amount of processing power.
We take 10 trillion calculations to figure out what's inside there. Okay? So that's like a huge number of calculations.
Even more amazingly, the OptoScreener performs these trillions of calculations in less than a second, again and again, for each and every item. Already being installed in a number of classified locations and considered for use at the next Olympics, this equipment won't just help speed up the long lines at airports. It also has the power to catch the terrorist red-handed, making air travel safer for all of us by helping to prevent the unthinkable. Coming up, I travel to Sweden to unleash the latest weapon in naval artillery. I'm in Northern Europe to see a new generation of naval gun that claims to have solved some of the major limitations of its predecessors. Built by BAE Systems, it's about to undergo a trial run at a highly restricted range in central Sweden. This is the Mark 110. It fires the 57mm round, which is pretty small by naval weapon standards. It is an incredibly versatile warhead because you can program it to do whatever you want, whenever you want.
Weighing in at 15,000 pounds, the Mark 110 is considered a lightweight weapon for a 150-ton ship. Yeah, lightweight, but highly devastating.
Conventional ship-mounted guns are great against big targets, but today's threats come in all shapes and sizes, from small, highly maneuverable surface craft to missiles and UAVs. The Mark 110 has been designed to tackle them all.
Tell me a little bit about the Mark 110.
220 rounds per minute. It has an intelligent munition, which is basically one round for just about every threat that you could cut across.
Scott Thompson has been instrumental in bringing this ship-mounted technology to the United States.
With this programmable ammunition, you're able to fire 5 meters above the target, and with a shroud of lead coming down on top of the target, it's a highly lethal combination.
But this is future weapons. Why tell you when we can show you? I'm about to fire this brand new naval gun using its highly advanced 57mm round with a firing rate of 220 rounds per minute. You better not blink. The targets, 2 small boats positioned across the lake. The rounds have been programmed to explode above the targets in airburst mode.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Ow. Say you're up to no good and you're out there in a little boat. Well, for the Mark 110, you won't be up to no good for very long.
What makes the 57mm warhead so deadly is not just the explosive, it's what's packed around it. This would be the explosive, but right here, these are the tungsten filaments, or the tungsten fragments.
Small tungsten,
so this is explosive.
pre-fragmented fragments that will go out, and there are 2,400 tungsten balls coming out here.
Michael Branting, the man behind this round, knows its deadly capabilities better than anyone.
What kind of speeds are we talking at these tungsten balls coming out at?
We are talking about 1,500 meters per second.
So that's just going to rip right through steel. It's going to rip through pretty much anything.
Through anything, yeah, that's true.
In slow motion, you can see how the rounds detonate above the boats. The precision timing of the fuse guarantees the tungsten fragments have the most devastating effect. But the time mode is just one of 6 different settings this multi-function round can operate in. Incredibly, the fuse can be programmed to engage any threat and guarantee the best hit.
When we designed the gun, we basically had to design it to be able to take on any threat that is available out there today. The 3P round, 3P ammunition, is perhaps the most important factor, and that makes this weapon unique. The base of it is actually a little radar to transmit radar signals.
Let me get this straight. You're saying this is basically a miniature radar.
Yes.
And you can program it any way you want it to perform. If you want it to perform at the last second, so it doesn't give itself away, it can do that.
That's true. Proximity fuses has been around for a while, but the really unique thing with this is that it is programmable in a time mode as well.
In time mode, the warhead detonates at a specific time and distance after it's left the gun. In proximity mode, the fuse triggers when it gets close to the target. There are even 3 different proximity settings to choose from, depending on the target. Up against big, heavily armored targets, the impact mode explodes the round on contact. To do all of this, the sophisticated electronics in the fuse also have to be incredibly tough to withstand the extreme force of the launch.
What kind of G-forces are we talking about this thing having to sustain?
It actually had to sustain some 60,000 Gs.
60,000 Gs?
60,000 Gs in the moment of firing.
Between the moment of launch and leaving the barrel, the round is accelerated to nearly 3,500 miles an hour. It's subjected to a force of 60,000 times the Earth's gravitational pull. To give you some idea of what that means, at those sort of Gs, a baseball has an effective weight of 8.5 tons. Next, find out what else the Mark 110 is capable of when we use it against a terrorist attack.
General quarters, all hands man your battle stations.
I'm at a restricted test location in central Sweden where I've been given an exclusive first look at BAE Systems' groundbreaking naval gun, the Mark 110.
Fire!
I've already seen the fragmentation effect of the 57mm rounds in airburst mode, exploding above these 2 small boats. Now, I'm about to fire the Mark 110 at a metal container representing an enemy vessel or vehicle. For this, we need the warhead to explode on contact. This is a job for impact mode.
Stand by for countdown. Countdown starts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire!
Just like that, the fire control system can program the round at the last millisecond to take out that specific target. And the results are devastating.
From 1,000 yards away, it looks like a pretty good hit, but I want to take a closer look.
You can see all 5 rounds went inside there. As a matter of fact, there's this tiny little hole in the middle. That was the training round, that was the placement round. So you can see how just deadly accurate the gun is. You can actually see where the training round went straight out the other side, but if you look at all the tiny holes right there, deadly accurate.
This gun has another trick up its sleeve. It's the only medium caliber naval gun in the world with the ability to quickly switch ammunition types.
One of the things that's really interesting is you can actually switch from a warning shot to a live round taking out a target within a second.
That's true. The gun magazines have 2 compartments, one left and one right. So you can have training rounds or warning shots in one side and live rounds in the other one.
This ability to switch rounds at the last moment can be vital. To show you how, let's play out an attack scenario. A naval patrol ship fitted with the Mark 110 is given the job of protecting the harbor. A group of terrorists plan to breach the security perimeter with deadly cargo. They've loaded up a small boat with a lot of explosives. A small vessel like this could easily be mistaken as harmless. To determine their intention, we fire warning shots. This is exactly the kind of danger that Naval and Coast Guard ships have to deal with today. Deceptive and deadly.
All right, here's the situation. A small boat loaded down has breached our security perimeter and is headed straight toward us.
General quarters, all hands man your battle stations.
From a distance, it's impossible to tell if this small boat is a real threat.
What we're going to do is fire 2 warning shots to see if we can get their attention.
This is a lot more challenging with a conventional gun because blank and live rounds are loaded sequentially. With the Mark 110's twin compartments, you can switch from a warning shot to a live round as often as you want.
Fire!
2 warning shots, and nothing has happened. It's time for us to take action.
Any further delay could cost lives. The small boat is unmanned and locked onto a course of destruction. In the space of a half second, the Mark 110 switches from blank to live rounds.
Fire!
I wish they would have listened to the warning shots.